We have a question from a spiritual seeker. I am an 80-year-old woman living alone, choosing a quiet life. I have been on a spiritual path for decades. Many different paths have been rich and rewarding, yet ego claims them. I am near the end of this life's sojourn, and the ego mind has still been running the idea of fixing myself. I was just listening to Enlightenment Not Explained as I am on your contact list. By some grace, your YouTube channel found its way to my computer last month. What a good fortune. The words are unwinding this search to be a better spiritual being. Your stillness, the depth of words has soothed the me, and the turning inward affirmed by another human being is important. I feel the truth. Each morning I add your words to my quiet life, to my quiet writing, and turn into the peace beyond all understanding. Now I am not shaming myself because I cannot seem to be at peace throughout the day. But I know peace is here. My body just doesn't feel it. Could you explain a little about how the body goes through this? Obviously, it is wired to feel. It is an animal instinct to protect itself in the world of dense chaos, ready for fight, flight, freeze. Now, if this understanding is there that you're not shaming yourself for what the body feels, then that itself is half the battle won. Because for a lot of people, this is a constant struggle as they are not able to get rid of the sense of doership. They strongly believe that they are the doers and that they can do something or be a certain way so as to not feel shame, blame, guilt, or any of the afflicting emotions. However, in the flow of life, all these emotions are experienced, even by the sages who have deep understanding. It's just that they do not cling to any of these emotions and they just let it pass. So, this message of peace does not guarantee that the body will drop the reaction, which can be fight, flight, freeze. In a given moment, all sensations will be experienced based on past conditioning. So, let's say if you are conditioned in your past to fight, or let's say flight in a given turbulent situation, then you will act and react according to that conditioning. Now, for some, the conditioning may change, but the changing of that conditioning has nothing to do with the individual's understanding. It is simply the impersonal awareness that rids away this reactivity in a human being. But for some, the reactive body continues to operate. But the thing is that there is no problem for them as such because they know that they are not the body. When I say body, I am referring to the word that was used by Nisargadatta Maharaj. When he said body, he included everything in the body. He included the mind, the tendencies, the proclivities, the inclinations, and all that is experienced both at the psychological level and at the physical level is all included in the body. So, the mistake is that we try to perfect the body because the mind says that if I get rid of my patterns, my reactivity, somehow I will be a better human being, and then I will be maybe more valuable to the society or more productive to the society. Or it can also say that I will be more peaceful once my patterns are gone. So it places a condition that I will be happy if I fix myself and my patterns are gone. But you see, that itself continues the reactivity, because the one that is saying that is the separate self or me. However, when there is this awareness that me is simply a conditioned entity that is acting and reacting according to the conditioning that it has received in the past since childhood, there is not much concern about modifying or fixing this me to become a better spiritual seeker, or even a better human being, or even a good or a nice human being. There is no eagerness to fix this, and fixing the self is not seen as a solution, because self continues to be a fragmented entity. It's just that in the light of awareness, one does not bother. Whatever is happening is happening. Now, it doesn't mean that we become disrespectful or completely irresponsible because our actions have consequences. It's just that if something happens in a moment, it is seen as the body's conditioning, and the sense of the separate self is that conditioning. It is not something that is separate. There is no separate observer. So, with that understanding, what is usually seen is that even the reactivity begins to fade away. However, when there is this eagerness in the mind to fix the self, I must somehow be a better spiritual seeker, or I must be a certain way, either this way, that way, I must speak slowly, I must be very calm, I should not be reactive, I should not be sensitive to other people's energies or words. Now, these are very demanding expectations, and they are all coming from the separate self itself. That self that believes it can become better by fixing itself. But that's an illusion, because there is nothing to fix. The self is not there. It is simply all conditioning and all manifestation. And there are so many objects at play, the cells, the molecules, and all of it. There is no one concrete entity that is separate from the rest. Yes, and you say that you have been on different paths which have been rich and rewarding, yet ego claims them. Yes, it is the nature of ego to claim, because it will say that I did this and I became better. And that's okay. It can be seen as one of the tricks that the ego plays in order to justify its existence, that I am better and I need to work a little bit more to become even more better. However, as we see that the separate self, that itself, the sense of personal identification, the sense that I'm separate from the rest, is itself the cause of our suffering, then we do not chase anything. We just relax in this peace of being, which is here and now. So let the body do whatever it's doing. Now, someone like Nisargadatta Maharaj would say, do not associate the actions as your personal doing. Do not claim ownership over the actions, that I did the action. The understanding is that the action happened. Whatever it could be fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or anything. It just happened in a given moment because the situation was a particular way. Only when we claim that the actions were ours and we should have done better, or we should have meditated more to become a better spiritual seeker, all that story keeps spinning around and keeps producing even more unwholesome actions. So I would say just relax in the peace of your being, which is available here and now. It is most intimate to you, rather than trying to be a certain way. And you will see that this whole reactivity and whole unease associated with it also begins to drop away. So Maharaj would say, even other masters would say, that you're not the mind, you're not the body. And usually we see mind and body as two separate things, but they are actually one and the same. There is no mind without the body, there is no body without the mind. They act in perfect tandem. So let the mind or body do whatever it's doing. And remember that you are the pristine awareness that is untouched, that is pure. You are not the limited mind-body organism that is here, that thinks it is suffering or experiencing any suffering. There is no separate self that is experiencing anything. It is all pure experiencing that is happening. So these are my thoughts on this subject. I hope it helps.